You have been in the industry for more than 20 years. Have you ever seen anything like this in terms of the chip shortage?
No, I think the chip shortage itself, on the back of a rebounding economy after the pandemic or the depths of the pandemic, it's been quite a whipsaw for us in the industry.
So how long does it last? I mean, are you going to get things back on track, say, by Q4?
Well, the chip information changes every single day, and it's a moving feast. But I do believe that our inventories as an industry will start to recover from later this summer, and so consumers will have more choice going into the fall and winter.
Is that the only thing holding you back from bigger numbers? I mean, does demand far outstrip supply right now?
Yeah, one of my colleagues likes to say that success is the intersection of opportunity and preparation. And the rebounding economy has certainly given us lots of opportunity. Thankfully, Mazda has been prepared to some extent to satisfy that demand.
So the one thing Mazda hasn't really been prepared for, and hardly any of the incumbent car makers have been, is this switch over to electric. Or it seems like a lot of you could have prepared a lot longer ago for it. You've got your first fully electric EV coming, the MX-30, to the U.S. market. How come you didn't act sooner on this?
Well, I think if you look at sales today, right, only about 2% of the U.S. market is electrified or is electric vehicles. And so the consumer hasn't moved there yet. But Mazda, as you mentioned, we are bringing our first electric vehicle to California in the next couple of months. And by 2025, we will have 13 electrified models on the market, including 3 battery electric vehicles.
So the White House has been pushing for industry, for car makers to commit to 40% or more of the vehicles that they sell in the U.S. to be electric by the end of the decade. Does that make sense for Mazda?
I think it certainly could. We expect that globally, we'll have about 25% of the fleet as electric vehicles by 2030. And of course, that will depend by market, what level we have, what customers demand, and what regulators require.
Where are you going to be building? I guess the MX-30, will you build it in Alabama? Do you build it in Japan? I mean, where do the EVs get built primarily?
So the MX-30 will be built in Japan. We are currently, together with our partner Toyota, constructing a factory in Huntsville, Alabama. We're going to employ more than 4,000 people and a couple thousand more than that in terms of the supply base there. And that product we'll be talking about later on this year. The factory is certainly capable of producing traditional internal combustion engines, but also electrified vehicles.
The sourcing of raw materials or input materials for these vehicles is different. And of course, a lot of those prices have been going up. Are you able to pass on higher input costs to customers?
Well, I think the dramatic increases we've seen in terms of precious metals, steel and other commodities in the last few months especially, I don't see that coming through to customers in huge measure later this year. So we're going to be cautious on that.
To me, Mazda had its real claim to fame with the RX-7. Being a person of my age, I thought the rotary engine was so cool, and it doesn't really exist in terms of a powertrain anymore for your current offering, but you're bringing it into EVs. Tell us how.
So we're really excited. The rotary engine is part of Mazda's soul and part of our Challenger spirit to perfect that engine. But we're bringing it back in the guise of the motivation for an electric generator on board a vehicle. The rotary makes a lot of sense because it is very lightweight. It is very compact. It doesn't create any noticeable vibration, and it's very powerful. So it really is the perfect solution to turn an electric generator and provide additional range on board of an electric vehicle.
By the way, my gearhead friends used to always joke that the perfect solution or the answer to every car question is Miata. Obviously, it's a cult hit. I think the editor-in-chief of Road and Track just bought a new Miata. Is there going to be an electric version soon?
Well, by 2030, all of our vehicles will be electrified. So I won't speculate exactly on the content of the Miata, but it certainly will have some form of electrification on board.